28. Gem. The city is a monster, screaming and frothing and losing teeth in its frenzy to feed one last time. The soldiers run like frightened children into the desert, dropping spears and dart blowers and swords in their haste to escape. The few still left inside shove each other as they fight to squeeze through the narrow opening that is all that's left of the King's Gate, now that the walls have all but collapsed. Even before I'm close enough to see the sweat and tears on the men's faces, I can smell their terror, sour and filthy on the wind, tainting the fresh air, crashing over the mountains like waves of redemption. The men are so afraid of their city that they don't notice their old monster running towards them. I'm close enough to kill them with a sweep of my claws. Two short, soft boys scream out and put on a burst of speed, darting closer to the wall to get away from me, before racing back towards the desert, while the man wedged half in, half out of the opening in the gate cries out and lifts his arms in a desperate and useless attempt to protect himself. If it's necessary to kill, he'll be as dead as those with their arms up as down. But I'll leave that decision to him. Leave now, and I won't hurt you. Stay to fight me, and you'll die, I growl, as I pull him through the opening by his armpits and fling him onto the ground. I wait a half second, long enough to see that he scrambled to his feet and followed his friends, before turning back to the opening and hauling at the rocks blocking my way. I'm bigger than the men of Yuan. I won't be able to fit unless I make the opening larger. I dig my fingers into the stone until they bruise. I retch at the rocks until my muscles grow thinner and weaker in my weeks wandering the wild. I dig and down and give everything I have and more, but the last colossal stone refuses to move. Not a centimeter, not a fraction of a centimeter. I grit my teeth and howl with effort, refusing to fail now. Above me, the city howls more loudly, twisted metal and crumbling glass wailing a miserable, selfish cry for blood and suffering and death. But beneath it all is the rush of the clean wind, and finally, a wondrous smatter-patter, the sound of raindrops on desperately dry earth, the remarkable rhythm of rain falling harder and harder until the drumbeat of hope pounds all around me. The drops kiss my bare shoulders, soak into my skin, bringing me to life like a seed waiting for a miracle. The stone gives beneath my fingers, rolling away, falling to the ground with a thud. Heart racing, I shove my shoulders through the opening and tumble into Yuan. I roll back to my feet and run, around the granaries, through the barren fields, past fallen trees and massive shards of glass, cresting the final hill in time to see the tower fall. And fall, and fall. Loose stones, scattering like bones, throwing from a medicine man's cup, foretelling the death of anyone left inside. Isra. By the time we reach the base of the tower, my childhood home is crumbling all around me. With barely a moment to spare, I fling myself through the door to the outside world and out onto the path, with Bo close behind me. As I dash for the barren sunflower patch, my bare feet crunch through the clods of dirt that are all that remain of the cabbage field. My breath comes fast, and my arms pump at my sides. My lungs are raw, but the salty taste in my throat only makes me feel more alive. I'm alive. Still alive. We're going to make it out. We're going to make it. It's my last thought before the stone fist punches me between the shoulders, knocking me through the air. I fly, a bird with broken wings and a belly full of pain, only to fall to the earth with a pitiful moan. My breath rushes out, but I can only wheeze a little air back in. It hurts to breathe deeply. There are too many sharp things inside me, fighting for a place to exist in this soft, bleeding body. My vision swims with red, My fingers flinch at my sides, instinctively grasping for things I'll never touch. I blink, pulling the world into focus, to see Bo standing a few feet away, staring at me, hunks of rocks falling to the ground all around him. I try to tell him to run, but I can't speak. Even if I could have made the words, it would have been too late. It's a stone no bigger than a child's ball that hits him, but it makes contact in the worst of places, colliding with his skull, shattering him in the blink of an eye. I see more red, and then Bo is face down on the earth, not moving, not breathing. My chest burns, and I know I would cry for him if my body weren't full of knives made of broken bones. He's gone as I will be soon. Soon, I will not be Isra anymore. I could find peace with it, I think, some kind of peace, enough to close my eyes and move away from the pain, at least. But at the moment, after the last stone hits the ground, he's there. He comes running through the wreckage, his expression as fearful and hopeful as I imagine mine was within a few minutes ago. Jem. Jem. Every part of my being screams his name. I know it's him, and not some vision created by my dying mind. He's the same as he always was, but also very different, altered from the boy I knew. He's leaner, with sharper cheekbones and shadows smudging his skin beneath his eyes that are hollow and haunted, but charged with energy that reaches through the air between us, electrifying my body the second his gaze meets mine. He loves me. I see it. I know it in the way I know darkness from light. My heart pumps desperately against my broken ribs, heedless of the pain it causes as it celebrates seeing my beloved, too innocent to understand how terrible this meeting is. But I understand. I'm dying, and all Jem can do is watch. Jem's gaze travels down my body and back up again, and his steps falter. His lips part, and the hope drains from his face, replaced by understanding and agony and regret, so sharp that I see it twist inside him, making his desert-tanned skin pale beneath his scales. He's staggering by the time he falls to his knees beside me. "Not again," he says, his voice the rawest thing I've ever heard. "I can't lose you. Please, Isra, please, stay with me." I suck in a breath, but all that comes out is a whimper too soft and pitiful to be called a sound at all. I can't speak. I can't even tell him I love him. "Isra." Jem brushes my hair from my face. "Can you hear me?" I blink and blink again, before slowly, deliberately lifting my eyes to his and forcing my mouth to curve at the edges, hoping he can see that his being here makes everything hurt a little less. Jem presses his lips together, but doesn't speak, or move, or seem to notice when a piece of the dome plummets from the sky, crashing into what's left of the tower. I twitch my fingers, trying to point away from me, to let him know he has to leave me and get out, but he isn't looking at my hands. He's watching my face, and with eyes that shimmer in the murky gray light. "You can't die," he says, the shimmer becoming a shine. "You have to see it. Needle is waiting for you. The desert is alive. Grass is growing. The trees are budding. It's raining. There's so much. You have to see it with me." I smile so big it hurts, but I don't try to stop it from taking me over. Then we did it. Jem and I. We loved enough. The planet will be made whole. There will be no more domed cities, and our people will have a second chance. I hope they will choose peace, forgiveness. Needle can speak. She's the only one who told me to come find you. Jem says, breaking it through the fog settling over my mind. When she stepped into the desert, she was made whole. As soon as the words leave his lips, I see the dream form behind his eyes. A part of me wants to dream with him, but I know better. I won't live to see the desert again. I know it even before he scoops me into his arms, and one of the sharps inside me shifts and lifts and punctures, and suddenly I can't breathe at all. Not a whisper, not a sip. The pressure builds in my chest, and my eyes slide close, but for a few moments I can still feel my body bouncing in Jem's arms as he races for the gate. I hear him begging for me to stay, telling me it's not too late. And then there is nothing but the slowing of my heart, and the quiet in my head, and blessed numbness, and separatedness, and softness, pierced only by one regret. I wish I could know that Jem is safe before I go. I wish I could tell him to lay my body down, and go, and be a champion for the world, the way he was a champion for me. I wish. Stop wishing.